in these states. Moreover, a federal judge in Illinois will decide whether to halt the National Guard's deployment to Chicago, where troops have begun patrolling an immigration facility focused by protests. Additionally, an appeals court in California will review a lower court order blocking the deployment to Portland, Oregon. Earlier today, National Guard troops have been seen inside a Chicago area immigration facility carrying sidearms but without riot gear. Now, this facility has been a site of ongoing protests since last month, with ICE officers using crowd control measures. Meanwhile, a coalition of 24 states has filed a brief supporting Oregon and California's lawsuit, arguing the deployment violates the Constitution and undermines state authority. In response, the Trump administration has said that the troops are needed to protect federal officers, citing threats from protesters, but Democratic governors have criticized the president, claiming he is manufacturing a crisis for political reasons. Overall, President Trump faces 4 lawsuits over troop deployments in Portland, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. Now, for this discussion, we are joined by Matthew Wadham. He's an American journalist and author, joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much, Matthew, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now,
good to see you.
Thank you. What more can you tell us about this news that's unfolding, and how do you see this shaping the balance of power between state governments and the federal government?
Well, the various states and cities affected by Donald Trump federalizing the state National Guard troops are fighting his decision. And a little over an hour from now in San Francisco, the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit will hear Portland, Oregon's challenge to President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon. The reason that President Trump gave for sending the troops to Portland, Oregon, was that the local authorities are not doing enough to protect ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement facilities in Portland. And I think he's correct. They are resisting, and they're not doing very much to protect federal property in Portland. And so he thought that it was necessary to take National Guard troops and issue an order converting them to federal duty. And so they are, the goal is to use the state National Guard troops to restore order in those places, insofar as the local police and local authorities are not doing enough to protect federal immigration facilities in that city. And he's done it in a number of other cities as well. And there's even talk that he might invoke the Insurrection Act soon, which would give him greater power to use, I think, regular United States troops to maintain order. But I think that's only a rumor right now. I don't think any plans have been set in motion to actually do that.
Matthew, thank you for sharing that. And now a coalition of 24 states has filed a brief supporting their lawsuits against the National Guard deployments. So how significant is this multi-state coalition in influencing the outcome of lawsuits? Does it have any influence, and what does it signal about the broader climate regarding federal-state relations?
I think that the courts take seriously when states file briefs in support of each other's positions in federal court, and the court will weigh the issue and take their position into account. It doesn't mean the court will necessarily be swayed by them. However, clearly federal and relations between the federal government and blue states, many of which are illegal alien sanctuary states that resist federal immigration enforcement efforts. These are the states that are resisting, and are allowing Antifa and other subversive radical groups to attack federal facilities. So, it's not surprising that these states are opposed to President Trump trying to enforce immigration law after President Biden ignored it for 4 years and allowed an estimated 10 to 15 million illegal aliens to enter the United States. When you have to clean up the mess that the last guy left, it isn't pretty. And that's what you're seeing right now with these mass immigration raids and so on.
Yeah.
Would have been easier just to keep the illegal aliens out of the country, but that's not what happens. So this is what President Trump feels he has to do to restore law and order in the United States, and he also thinks that the presence of so many illegal aliens is bad for society, that it drives up social welfare costs, and it drives American workers' wages down. And there's a lot of evidence supporting his argument in that respect.
With that, I would like to thank Matthew Vadam for joining us all the way from Washington, D.C., and sharing that insight as an American journalist and author. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has confirmed that following a phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump, the White House has appointed Marco Rubio to continue diplomatic talks with Brazil's Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira. Lula has described the call as unexpectedly warm and respectful, stating that both leaders, as senior statesmen of major Western democracies, have a responsibility to promote harmony rather than conflict. He has expressed that hope that formal discussions would now begin and reiterated that Brazil does not seek confrontation with the United States.
Nada concreto é que ele me telefonou e no telefonema havia uma expectativa de que ia ter muita discussão. Ele me ligou da forma mais gentil que um ser humano pode lidar com o outro. A pessoa que ele indicou, que é o secretário de Estado, Marco Rubio, ligou para o meu ministro Mauro Vieira. Talvez comece a ter conversa a partir de agora. E vamos ver se a gente consegue se acertar, porque o Brasil não quer briga com os Estados Unidos, o Brasil não quer briga.
Now we move on to our next news. At the Global Gateway Forum in Brussels, Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has made a direct appeal to Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, urging him to cease support for insurgents in the Democratic Republic of Congo and work together towards peace. Speaking after Kagame at the investment conference, Tshisekedi has called for an end to the violence caused by the M23 insurgent group, which has been supported by Rwanda, according to them. Let's listen in.
Mon discours avait prévu un plaidoyer et un appel à des sanctions contre ce pays. Vous avez deviné de qui il s'agit. Mais étant donné que j'ai vu le président du Rwanda, parce que c'est de lui qu'il s'agit, je prends à témoin l'assistance ici présente et le monde entier qui nous suit à travers les réseaux pour lancer un appel à la paix, lui tendre la main et demander à ce qu'on arrête cette escalade, que la République démocratique du Congo n'est pas belliqueuse. La République démocratique du Congo veut la paix, la véritable paix qui va entraîner la stabilité et permettre le développement de cette région qui, pour moi, est l'une des plus belles régions du monde, c'est-à-dire cette région des Grands Lacs. J'espère que cet appel sera entendu par le président Kagame et je lui dis ma disponibilité à discuter de cette situation.
While Kagame has not addressed the ongoing conflict directly in his speech, but he has acknowledged the positive energy for peace earlier expressed by South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa. The eastern DRC, which is rich in natural resources but plagued by armed groups, has been the site of intense violence for over 3 decades. Despite a ceasefire agreement in July and a separate peace deal between the DRC and Rwanda, violence persists, complicating efforts for stability in the region. Now we move on. Pope Leo has released his first major document as leader of the Catholic Church, which is an apostolic exhortation calling for greater support for migrants and the world's poor. The 104-page text titled Dilexite was initially drafted by the late Pope Francis before his death in April and completed by Pope Leo, which is the first American person to hold the papacy. Now, the concerned document centers on economic inequality and social justice, urging changes to global market structures that have left millions in poverty. It has also criticized border walls and immigration restrictions, echoing earlier Vatican concerns about U.S. policies under U.S. President Donald Trump. Additionally, Pope Leo's writing stresses that the Church should stand with migrants and the marginalized while addressing the root causes of inequality. Meanwhile, Vatican officials have said that while the work had already begun under late Pope Francis, it fully reflects Pope Leo's own priorities, signaling continuity in the Church's stance on poverty, migration, and ethical economic reform. Now we move on to Asia. In Japan, influenza cases have spiked, prompting local authorities to declare a nationwide epidemic. Medical experts warn the virus is evolving rapidly, spreading faster than ever. Hospital wards are overwhelmed and schools across the country have been forced to shut down. This early outbreak, 5 weeks ahead of schedule, signals unprecedented viral adoption. Experts believe global mobility and increase in tourism are contributing to the virus's quick spread. On October 3rd, Japan's Ministry of Health reported over 4,000 cases, a 957-case jump from the previous week. The flu season's early start is a concern, with experts anticipating similar trends globally. This is all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more news updates from around the world.